Hi there, I'm Tanya, and if you're here, you know what you came for. You came for pain and suffering. If you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, oh boy! Get some popcorn and get out a notebook to take some notes, because this is going to be something if you've got no idea who I am. This is basically me trying to explain my creator lore, which is basically my Minecraft lore, aka like how I think Minecraft works and stuff, and it's just nicknamed my creator lore because it's my creator lore. It's creator creation, that kind of stuff. Or I talk on a whiteboard for about half an hour. This was a 2-hour stream, so I was interacting with my chat quite a lot, which is why I had to cut it down. Cutting down this, by the way, took forever. So if you're coming here from the stream, you probably know what I'm talking about because it was so ping-pongy. I had to cut out a lot of stuff. It's very scuffed. I apologize. It is so scuffed. It is so scuffed. I explain things horribly. Editor Tanya here is so mad at Stream Tanya because Streamer Brain killed her. But yes, Editor Tanya will hopefully put in subtitles because this is nonsense. Editor Tanya will hopefully put in chapters because also this is nonsense. And Editor Tanya will probably also kill this sheep because it's got in my way. But Editor Tanya will also maybe make a quiz to see whatever comes of this. I don't know. Yeah, have fun. Do leave any questions down below because I know you have questions. I know you have questions. If you don't have questions, how do you not have questions? Because I have questions, and I made this. And I have questions. I made this, and I'm contemplating my life choices because I have questions. Do you hear me? Yes, I have questions. I have questions. So you have questions, and I want to answer them. I will make a follow-up video to this because I know you have questions. Now go watch with a notebook because you will need it. What is creator lore? Basically, creator, and we have creation. Basically, the creator is the person behind the screen, as you can see by my wonderful doodle here. Creator equals Tanya Healer. No, Tanya Healer is actually the creation. A better example of a creator would be Charles, which is Grian's real name. So we can, if we use more real names, we have Jack, and then Pyroscythe. But then we also have people like Scott, whose creations are also named Scott. But then there's Scott Major, and there's Scott Goldsmith. From like vampires. Do we have this? Does this make sense? Now, there are many different types of creations. Creator, they're like a set thing, right? That's simple. That's just who the person behind the screen is. Actually, let me do a little bit more on the creator before I go on to creation stuff. Right, so if creators have in fact revealed themselves, then we have faced creators. Then we also have faceless creators, such as me, who in media shows up as somebody with mask squared. So this is me. Fun fact, I actually have both of the masks and a hooded cape. So by technicality, I could face cam stream without a face. You can have, but like, if Rian wanted to put on a hood and say this was his creator Sona, I think that's perfectly fine. Let him have fun. Okay, creations. 3 main types of creations. There are portal hoppers, void leapers, and there are mob seekers. A creator can have as many creations as they want. So, for example, Grian also has too much Grian. And usually you do different stuff on different creations, correct? Yes, correct. Creations in general are just puppets. puppets for the creator's creativity and enjoyment. However, in lore, some puppets may be more sentient. Now, the sentient puppets tend to be portal hoppers. Hold on. Portal hoppers. Would 8 be considered a sentient puppet? I don't know enough about 8. However, I think so. Yes. I will get to that in a minute. Okay, hold on. Let me explain this a bit more. Sentient puppets who play a character outside their creation's personality. They're outside their creator's personality. So, yes, I think 8 would be considered a sentient puppet. So, for example, Tanya is a sentient puppet. Okay, some creators don't consider their creation something outside of themselves. Does this include names or just personality? Both. So, a good example of a creator who doesn't consider their creation something outside of themselves is actually Keiko. So, Keiko is actually a very good example of a creator who doesn't consider their creation to be something outside of themselves, because she doesn't tend to play Minecraft as a way to tell a story rather than a way to have fun, instead of a way to have fun and just express herself. I, however, play a character. So Tanya is a sentient puppet. Tanya's a sentient puppet for, like, other reasons too. She's actually aware of her creationness. Now, all of this sentient puppet stuff ties in with what I'm about to say here with the portal hoppers and void leapers. Portal hoppers are those who either host or play their own. But this is mostly. You can play multiplayer games, but still be a portal hopper because you mostly play your own worlds. Portal hoppers are also often seen as safe creations, and I'll get to that in a bit. Void leapers, however, those who don't really play their own worlds. Keiko's a great example of this because she would always join the worlds I'd make. She would oh, hi Keiko. She plays multiplayer games probably a little bit more often than she would her own worlds. They're also seen as unsafe creations because they're often associated with hackers. Because hackers also don't play their own worlds, usually. They tend to go into other people's worlds. Tanya is a good example of a portal hopper because she makes her own worlds more often than she would play other people's worlds. Keiko is a good example of a void leaper because she is more likely to play other people's worlds. Does this mean that all void leapers are bad? No. Void leapers are creators with tight strings on their creations. So they would be not sentient puppets. However, a portal hopper would be, they have a higher chance of being sentient puppets. Your friend would be a void leaper and the sweetest. Exactly, yes. But in lore, because hackers are associated with Void Leapers, they can be seen with fear, nervousness, anxiety, utter fear. The category of creations are shared puppets. Just one puppet, multiple creators. However, a shared puppet can also be either of these, or both at the same time, which is why I don't write shared puppets. So like me and my siblings, so like when me and your siblings used to play Nintendo. Exactly! Mob seekers. NPCs. Basically just mobs. This exists for a fic called Silence. They're controlled by overseers. Though they can also be controlled by creators who just needed NPCs. So like how Owen sometimes put NPCs in things like pirates, power creations, stuff like that, you know? Pirates and Bannerfall. Basically, mob seekers, they are the mobs, the AIs of Minecraft. So if your pet wolf dies, it may be reincarnated in a different world of yours as a cow or a chicken or a zombie or the Ender Dragon. I don't know. Yeah, so reincarnation is canon in creator lore. Right, now I've got to explain the Void. That's gonna be something. We've got the Void, and the Void. Void at bottom of the world is the Void, capital V, capital T. It's the most important Void and the most known Void. Every single creation and creator knows about this. If you don't, how are you playing Minecraft? How have you not been in a creative world and just dug down? The Void, capital V, is where the portals are. So every creation will interact with the Void, capital V. A portal hopper will have their own Void. A Void Leaper will do as the name says, will go to other people's voids. And a mob seeker just kind of teleports around. Are we conscious in our voids? That depends whether you are a sentient or non-sentient creation. So, in the void, if a portal hopper is a sentient creation, it will know. However, Keiko, since you are the type of creator to have tight strings on her creation, because you don't consider your creation to be something outside of yourself, you don't realize that you've been in the void. Tanya would realize that she's been in the void, and she would be conscious of the fact that the void exists. However, a void leaper like Keiko, who's actually not a sentient creation, which is why this gets confusing, because usually void leapers are sentient creations. Wait, no, hold on, I'm being stupid. Okay, so these two words are technically synonyms. However, in this context, a sentient puppet is one that plays a character, and a conscious puppet knows that they are a creation and about creators. And because they know about creators, they know about the void. And then we've got tight string puppets, so puppets who are just puppets, and they're just a way for the creator to play Minecraft. Portal hoppers will often be sentient creations, sentient puppets, but aren't often conscious puppets. Tanya is, for some reason, both a conscious and sentient puppet, which is bad for everyone involved. Right, the void is just your inventory / ender chest. So there's the world void, void space portals, and void storage. Yes! Hold on, I'm doing that. Hold on. And void storage. Yes, that's probably the easiest way to explain it. Thank you, Aspen. Portals are actually pretty simple, actually. Now that I think about it. We've got single player portals, shared portals, and server portals. It also includes realms. Realms portals are a little bit different, actually. Okay, so a single player portal and shared portals will look similar, but are interacted with differently. So single player portals can only be accessed by its creator. The portal will take on appearance of contents. Hardcore worlds, for example, will have the heart at the bottom of it. And then there's this one hardcore world that I played on my Nintendo for like 2 days, and I was building a little castle, so the portal would maybe take on a little cobblestone look. So maybe with like a little tower on the side. The best bit is this isn't our lore, it's Tanya lore, and if we use it without her permission, that's not allowed, but we're taking notes in it. Like, no, you are allowed to. You are allowed to use this lore. So, single player and shared portals will take on the look of its contents as well. Shared portals would be like multiplayer. You're just making a server for you and your friends. This isn't a public, like it's a private server. It can be accessed by those given permission, but also evil void leapers. So it will also take on the appearance of its contents, but what the specific creation has made. Let's say the one block, right? One block world. Example. One block. With Keiko. Our portals will look different. Mine will have maybe some mushrooms. Maybe some water flowing off the side of it. No, yours will probably have the little granite roof. We'll have the granite roof that you were doing. And like a chicken engraved on the side. Engravings are also a big thing. So like you could have granite. Yes, you love granite. Yes. So like on the, let's say back here, right? You could have a bunch of like little inscriptions in galactic or something. Little drawings of, let's say, a wolf that you tamed. But the shared portals will be different between creations. Right. So server portals will take on a little bit more of an end portal look. So server portals, let's say, example, MCCI, will probably have like different colors on it. I don't know. It will be like there might be a chicken there for it to get to the other side. There might be some slime. But it'll be end portal like rather than these two that are tall like nether portals. It's just to differentiate the two. Because these servers are hosted publicly. So this would be more like Lifeboat, Hive, Soul Steel that we were playing yesterday. Things like that. Right, and then realms portals will also be like the shared portals, but they will be larger. Also, these would have kind of wavy patterns. Well, these would have swirls. More like another portal. And they're also much larger than these, though you can't see. Let me just make this bigger. These will also show what's kind of in the realm, but rather than rather than it being on the portal, it will be like around the portal. So, Glass Desert Tanya would have spikes of glass and sand. Stuff kind of seeps out of the portals for the realms. Not that it seeps out, it's more like it didn't want to corrupt the frame of the portal because it wants to differentiate from the other portals. So it just kind of goes around the portal rather than on the portal. But on this, there would just be sand around the portal and inscriptions on the portal. Portals made by Creator. Creations cannot make portals. Only access them. So portals will appear in the void, capital V. Usually, shared portals and single-player portals are lined up like this, on either side of a non-existent path in just complete darkness. But then at the end, there will be realms portals. But then, like imagine this like a table. The chairs on the sides of the length of the table, like long tables, they'll be the single player and shared portals, and then at the ends of the tables will be realms and then the server portals. And then if you have Bedrock and Java, those are completely separate voids. You kind of teleport between them. I don't know how it works. Y'all don't need to know how it works. Got it? Creation characteristics. This one's also pretty simple, I think. We have portal hoppers, and we have void leapers. And also mob seekers. These two. Creator. Decides. Appearance. Portal hoppers. They look normal. Or as normal as you can get. Void leapers will have a rim of void around their eyes. So, I've described Keiko's eyes before. Her irises will be somewhat green on the outside. Green and sparkly. To represent the void. And so that's how you can tell a void leaper from a portal hopper. Mob seekers are also sometimes referred to as the people before. So the reason we have ancient cities, desert pyramids, wells, villages, well, not villages, things like abandoned villages, things like that. Anyways, mob seekers may sometimes take on appearance of a previous incarnation. A white wolf may become white sheep. Or a villager may become an enderman. A zombie might become a drowned. But these are, like, not as important. Oh, I missed something with portals. Hold on, let me finish the portals for a second. Creations should not remember events between portals. You'll have things like muscle memory. So if you're practicing PvP on Lifeboat, for example, you will have that PvP skill if you were to go into the realm. You'll have things like feeling. Like, you might see a dog and have a pang in your heart because it reminds you of something in a past life that you cannot remember. Of something in a past life. So you might see a dog and immediately go, oh my gosh, that looks like Loyal. Like, little flashes of things, like a brown collar and the name Loyal. But no specific events can be remembered between things. When this does happen, we have incidents like Tanya. Fan life Tanya, which was not fun. We saw how fan life Tanya went. That was not great. That was not great at all. Fan life me, I should say. Cries indeed. So they cannot remember things between portals. Creator will know. Creation won't. Okay, creations don't usually interact with their creation. Creators don't usually interact with their creation. Creations will often be aware of creators. So things like they'll know from creators, so like rules that you're not allowed to dig down. Don't dig straight down. Like, don't mine dirt with a pickaxe. Things like I don't know, how to craft. Creations will be aware of these because creators have told them about them. Lore finished, yes. I think that's it. And like I said in the intro before, if you do have any questions, please leave them down below. That was a lot. Don't lie to me, that was a lot. Okay, have a good day.